Tiger Mask W is a professional wrestling anime produced by Toei Animation. In this universe, professional wrestling is very real and super serious. The story is simple and straightforward. It follows Naoto and Takuma on their quest for revenge after the wrestler from the notorious Tiger's Den, Yellow Devil, attacks their mentor after the match had already been declared over, hospitalizing him. The two rookies try to fight back, but unfortunately they're no match for the Yellow Devil, but they do declare then and there that one day they'll make him pay. And on top of that, there's also the global wrestling monopoly, which seeks to conquer and monopolize wrestling all over the world, their next target being Japan. I think the two main characters are pretty generic. They're pretty standard good guys, but they will do absolutely anything and everything to get a chance at fighting the Yellow Devil, and that can really cause a rift between the people around them and their relationships with other fighters in general. Naoto just isn't himself whenever Yellow Devil is around, as he fights more desperately and loses his cool. Takuma doesn't suffer nearly as much whenever Yellow Devil is around. He's also a little bit more edgier, but not really by much. Soon after, Naoto stumbles upon a mechanic and ex-Tiger's Den wrestler, Kentaro Takoka, who trains him and bestows him the mantle of Tiger Mask, a historic figure in their universe who also fought against the Tiger's Den decades prior, nearly wiping them out completely. Meanwhile, Takuma gets scouted into the Tiger's Den, which I forgot to mention is part of the global wrestling monopoly. He passes their hellish entrance exam with flying colors and becomes Tiger the Dark. From here, the two tigers are set on a collision course as GWM, or Global Wrestling Monopoly, seeks to conquer the Japanese market by crushing it and their stars. The show is a sequel to the original Tiger Mask anime, which ran from 1968 to 1971. As a result, it's very similar to a lot of old school action anime in that the plot takes a second seat to the action itself. The plot is really just there to get characters to fight each other, and honestly, it works. There's a few plot twists here and there, but ultimately it's just all about getting a fight scene in before the episode ends. And because there's a fight scene in just about every episode, all the fights are usually really quick and well paced. There's no charging beams for 3.5 episodes or whatnot, it's just straightforward beat 'em up action. There's lots of kicking, punching, throwing, chair smashing, whatever, you know what I mean? Anything goes pretty much. And if I'm going to be honest, the greatest part about the show is just how absolutely bonkers it can get at times with the action itself, as the heels or villain wrestlers don't really care about the rules whatsoever, and the referees never really are able to stop them from breaking the rules. Okay, there are actually some instances where they do call no contests, but I feel like the refereeing is never consistent enough for them to actually rule out the heels who are absolutely breaking every single rule in the book in these matches. That being said, there's plenty of variety when it comes to the action. There's single matches, tag team matches, elimination matches, and a whole host of other unique match formats. Sometimes the action isn't always that great, especially in the filler episodes, but the main fights will leave audiences on the edge of their seats. They can be dramatic, suspenseful, and just downright brutal. In terms of the art style, I would say it's almost nostalgic in the sense that it's pretty simple with not too many details, but when it really comes down to it, it's really great for the action sequences itself. That being said though, the non-action and filler scenes can sometimes look really cheap in comparison to the fight scenes, but I think that makes a lot of sense. Obviously, the animation studios really want to spend their budget on the actual fight scenes when it's an action anime. Now, one thing that I have to give the show a lot of credit for is that they take the women's wrestling matches just as seriously as the men's, and that it's just all about the action, and it could have easily been about like fan service, but here the fan service is pretty mild, and I really do love the fact that Haruna gets her own arc in the series, as she comes from a support style character all the way up to something of like a third protagonist, and she gets her own final episode at the end, and it's just absolutely amazing. Like, the last episode is easily one of the best in the series, and it has almost nothing to do with the plot. I think also tonally, the show never really takes itself too seriously, just seriously enough to where you get invested in the characters, so that when they do have their big moments, it really evokes the emotions that they're going after. I think when it really comes down to it, it's just a dumb, fun show. If you're looking for a profound experience, this genuinely isn't it, you know what I mean? But if you're looking for a cheesy, old-school-esque action show, I recommend you give it a shot. Anyways, I really enjoyed this show. I think it is genuinely hilarious at times, even when it doesn't try to be. And if you really like this video, let me know if you'd like to see more. Anyways, thanks for watching. Bye.